So another edition of the Wicked Awesome Report, despite all the awesome technology challenges we're having in the current Zoom environment. So I'm joined by my co-host here, Declan O'Toole from SelectRE Estate. Thanks for joining us, Declan.
Thanks, Patrick.
And we have a special guest, Adam Wiener, who is the owner of Aladdin Appraisal, who has been appraising property since 2003. Is that? 2003. So you've seen a couple of cycles. You've been around the block a few times. Currently, your stats are what, over 6,000 appraisals, or is that?
Yeah, over 6,000 appraisals, and this month I crossed the $4 billion mark. So that's a lot. What that is a lot of experience. And
all right.
What we hope is that I'm better now than I was 6 months ago, and that I'll be even better in the next 6 months. But that's the goal, I think, of any profession.
All right, fantastic. So we invite you on to maybe give us some information and some perspective in sort of the current pandemic environment. What's going on with appraisals? How has that environment changed? What are you seeing that's different? What's better? What's worse? I guess maybe the first question is, in terms of volume of business, have you seen appraisal requests increase or decrease as of late?
Well, Patrick, so we've seen a huge increase. In fact, my year to date is more than 200% compared to last year. Now, part of that is everybody will remember, and especially you, when the rates dropped, $11 trillion worth of mortgage debt in the United States. Almost every loan could do better if they applied, and so they all tried to do business with you. Yeah. And would you say it was like trying to take a sip out of a fire hose set on full blast?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Insane. Right.
And I also know that people that apply and do business with you, they need to be buttoned up because you want to process the ones that you can truly help. And I know that's what I assume that's.
Yeah. So I've been using the term a lot. It's like a mortgage triage.
Yeah.
Just the clients that are ready to go, that have their ducks in a row, you can get them through the process quickly and easily. The clients that have a lot of moving parts, that are unprepared and disorganized, you can't drag them kicking and screaming to the closing table, even if it's going to benefit them.
Yeah, that's right. And I know that not everybody will benefit from a refinance. And I know I'm already spinning off topic, but most people will, So what's happened is I am 60 years old. I've been appraising since 2003. At age 60, when I go we used to take classes together in a room. We're not doing that anymore. But when I was in the room, I was almost the baby in the room. So let's just overlay that onto the risk factor. My aunt, who's in her 70s, who got me into the business, she's not going into houses. In fact, I wonder if I could say this accurately. Most appraisers aren't going into houses. So those of us that will, like me, are overwhelmed. So that's part of it. So it's a combination of the favorable rates, which is great. You get to help a lot of people, and me too, which increase the volume, and then the temporary shortage of appraisers. As we know, Fannie Mae has come up with some innovative ways for appraisers to do exterior. In certain cases. Can't do it with a jumbo loan, though, I'm pretty sure. Is that right?
Yeah, so the appraisal relief standards are pretty much for the conforming loan amounts. So for a single family, less than $510,000 for a loan amount. They're sort of that medium category, depending on the county. You can go out to a $690 loan amount, but you're not seeing as much appraisal relief in that segment of the market.
That's right. And there are appraisal waivers, which, believe it or not, I'm in favor of. I don't think we can be brought out to bear unless we're actually helping. I love my clients. I'm helping them perform a risk analysis. And I think we all can get mad at our clients, because they ask a lot of us, and I'll explain very clearly a unique situation near the train tracks. And they're like, well, did you consider that it's near the train tracks? I wrote 3 paragraphs, so that sort of frustration, but that is all attributed to the incredible volume as they're trying to process, and they're not really taking time to read reports.
Yeah. But I think I say to a lot of people, you have to, it's difficult, but you sort of have to remove the emotional aspect of it. Yeah. Real estate and real estate values can be quite emotional. Well, it's my house, and I painted the living room blue, so that means it's worth X amount more. And that's not really how the numbers all come together. It's not a feeling. It's based on fact.
Yeah, I'm dangerously close to relabeling myself the cost versus value guy, because I've been, and there's a free report. I'm sure, Declan, you've heard of it. Remodeling Magazine happened, and this is a quick aside. They put out a publication every year called the Cost versus Value Report, and not only is it free, but it has geographic indicators. So 22 projects that people tend to do are tracked to see how much value is retained when the house eventually sells. A gut rehab kitchen, a light kitchen, add a deck, change your windows. All those projects, they track what comes back. And it's funny, you mentioned painting. Painting is not on the list and is one of the biggest returns on investment, especially if the house is dated.
Okay, so the moral of the story is you should paint that living room then.
Yeah, the right
still paint it blue.
Because if the appraiser doesn't like the shade of blue, you're screwed. I'm just.
Yeah.
Hey,
Enough.
I was thinking that there are people who are scared to have appraisers come into their house, and I wanted to make sure.
Yeah, please talk about that. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I have. So first of all, for me, I can only speak for myself. I have a sister, Greta, who's a furloughed nurse practitioner because she's in an OBGYN clinic, and she had a job share. Because who furloughs a nurse? But she is. She's put a protective cocoon around our parents. Okay, so I'm coming from a family where when the mail comes into my 87-year-old parents' home, and if I'm the guy coming into your house, this is the environment I'm coming from. The mail sits there for 3 days. They have 3-day files. Right. So every precaution. And my sister Greta wrote our protocols. And basically, of course, I'm wearing a mask and glove and booties. But what if I go into a 3-family? 3 masks, 3 sets of gloves. I got to have 3 booties because I'm about to say something that I hope is funny, but I'm a white Jewish guy from Brookline. No one's ever been afraid of me before.
Yeah.
And now they should, because I am going from house to house to house. So, I use an actual camera like this. Well, you know what? I wipe it down in between homes. I have a laser measure. I wipe it down. And we ask, I measure outside, so I spend as little time inside as possible. But I have to understand the house, because at the end of the day, maybe people don't know this, but appraiser's job can be summed up as, here it is. I get paid to pretend to buy your house. That's it. What would I pay for your house? So I need time to figure it out. I actually like the time spent inside the house. If you ever actually bought a house, which everybody listening probably has, you didn't spend 2 minutes in the house and make a decision. So I do need time. And having done over 6,000 of them, I can get in and out quickly. I grab a boatload of photos and then I check them out later. But I'm having homeowners turn on lights, open all the doors, open all the closets, and my preference is that they get out, but I only ask once because I am a stranger in their house and all their stuff is there.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't be alone because if something's missing, I didn't take it, but maybe I should think about that. So sorry, that was a monologue.
No, absolutely no. And you answered a couple of questions that I had. So obviously you're taking precautions to protect yourself as well as the consumer when you go into the home.
Right.
You already mentioned a couple of things, but what else can we ask the consumers to do to prepare for your arrival? Turning on the lights, leaving the doors open. What other suggestions do you have?
So the things that I always forget to ask are to open the electrical panel door. Okay, this is going to sound silly. I had somebody say, well, you said to open all the closets and I forgot. Does it matter? And I said, well, yeah, if you spent $30,000 on California closets, you might want to go ahead and crack that door. And he said to me, I spent $30,000 on California closets. How did you know? And it was a serendipitous random and a true story.
Yeah.
So we're looking for anything that adds value, right? Some cabinets, some kitchens have some really cool but hidden appliances. I've gone into kitchens where they're open, like it doesn't look ready for a photo shoot because the doors and drawers and appliances are open to make sure I don't miss them. That is ready for an appraisal photo shoot because I want to know those features and things that add value.
Sure.
You should also wear a mask. I've had people ask, do you want me to wear a mask while you're in the house? Which surprises me. I would assume they would just know to put it on, even though we're staying 6 feet away. And also the real answer to the question is, and I don't know any appraiser that's going into houses that isn't at least talking about it, but talk it through and make sure that anything you want the appraiser to do, like I ask people in our letter, anything you want us to do to keep you safe, let us know because we'll do it. you know, except do not exhale while you're in the house. I can't do that.
Yeah, hold your breath for each room.
Yeah, but it's like, it's got to be the same for you, Declan. Are you still looking at potential listings where you have to go in the house and figure out what it should be listed for?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, just this morning, I had somebody looking at South Boston, and I had 3 different properties, and they said, which one do you think from an investment perspective makes the most sense? I gave them my opinion. I said, but my opinion means nothing until we see those properties. We have to go inside them. So, you know, there's, well, I won't say the properties, but I can say the streets, you know, L Street versus M Street, you know, versus one that was over in Andrew Square. And they all had something going for them. And I can do a calculation based on, you know, here's the condo fee, here's your investment price, here's what the cap rate is. But at the end of the day, I have to see them to be able to give a number.
Yeah, it's a target, and you want to get closer to the, like, you'll hit the board.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
There's something else, which is people have asked me, why do you need to come in? And the answer is because my client, the bank, the people that want to get in business with you in your house require me to go in, because I've said, look, I don't want you to come in. I want to do a walkthrough and give you the photos and let that be good enough. And so let's just put on our criminal evil hats for a minute. How do I know that's your house? Really? Is that your kitchen? So I now have 5 options of software that people can access and take photos that are geolocated.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. ACI appraisal software and ANOW appraisal software that we use. Alamode, all the popular softwares. There's even one by CoreLogic, the big player.
Yep.
They came out with one that's just free, you know. And
so how does that work, Adam? So the consumer can take the picture themselves, and it pinpoints that it really is their kitchen, not something they clipped out of Home and Garden.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. They all are. There are a series of questions. Tell us about your house. You know, are you doing any construction? Is it listed for sale? You know, some things to just make. Answers. What kind of heat do you have? What amenities? So it actually asks, tell us things about your house that are key characteristics. And then it asks for the number of rooms and bedrooms above grade and below grade, because we do need to break out the basement. It's got good value, but it's not gross living area. It's treated separately. And then it asks it guides you through the process. If you said 4 bedrooms, it'll say, please go to bedroom 1, take a picture from one corner to the other, take a crisscross picture. And it actually guides you through. So they've been labeled, and it comes through pretty organized. Many people have floor plans from a previous appraisal, and they've shot a photo of that, which is helpful. So if you are qualified for an exterior appraisal, you should be contacted by the appraiser asking you for photos and asking you and interviewing you about your house. And I would dare say that if you have an appraisal done that's an exterior and you haven't heard from the appraiser, here I go. If you don't like the value, you have a basis to challenge it. Sure. Because they probably missed something, you know?
Sure.
Do you see those, you're talking about that technology, do you see that something being applied more going forward after the pandemic is gone? You know, where people can take pictures inside and speed up the process? Or obviously I think banks would probably prefer you went inside, but just wondering if that's something that might stay with us afterwards.
I predict that the lenders will love the fact that we can get direct geo-verified photos from inside the house, and eventually I would think they would make it part of the exterior appraisal. What happened in our industry, big picture, is that they came out with this thing called Uniform Appraisal Data Set, UAD, where every appraiser has to use the same codes. So we have condition C1 for a brand new house, C2 for a like new house, and so on. So there's about 30, maybe 40 fields, but we're all using the same, it's a language, so that they can then, it's for big data, so that they can look at a universe of properties in Boston and notice that, gee, all the C3 conditions with 2 bedrooms seem to hover around this price, and all the C2 in better condition hover around this price. And it's to make things like Zillow, which is an automated value but inaccurate, value machine, more accurate. So we're able to provide data. Every appraisal that's been done since I think 2010, has it been a decade? Has, Fannie Mae has it. And, if they did an appraisal and the appraiser described it with conditions and qualities, and somebody wants a loan after 6 months to refinance, you don't really need another appraisal as long as you have.
Yeah, that's what I'm finding. So, so clients that I've helped recently, we'll say within the past 2 years, if we're putting together a refinance for them now and it's the same property, in most cases, we're getting the appraisal waiver because Fannie, Freddie, they already have the data about that specific home and more than likely other homes that are in the neighborhood. So they can, with that, big brother computer model justify. So if we say it's worth approximately 400,000, well, yeah, all the supporting data suggests that it should be. So, hey, we're good with that. We don't even need a report.
Yeah, it's not your house. It's a data point.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it is part of it, because the other thing they have, Patrick, which you made me think of, is they have these trends. The market has, with the exception of recently, gone up nonstop for over 9 years. Values have just been increasing. And so, right, if by the way, there's a mindset that somebody gave me as a gift, and which was a way for appraisers to think of their clients. I hope it fits in this context, but it's like, if it was my mom's money, how much is the house worth now? If my mom was financing that loan,
right?
And that's just me trying to be accurate and fair. And by the way, every appraiser, I would say, has made at least one mistake on every appraisal they've ever produced. So there is no perfection.
Yep. It's just as much an art as it is a science.
Yeah, it really is. And we sort of rely on the principle of substitution, which says, well, I know you think your house is worth, your slab ranch Campanella home in Natick is worth 500,000, but there were 100 of them that sold last year, from 300 to 400, and the one for 400 was nicer than yours. So why would I pay you 500 when for 400,000 I could get a better house? So that is the underwriting current of what we do as appraisers, obviously.
So with everything that's going on, is there anything that you would specifically want a consumer to not do if you're walking through doing an inspection? So other than wearing a mask or not wearing, is there anything that just is, I don't know, scares you or maybe worries you about inspections currently, or just in general, not even in the current sort of pandemic environment?
Yeah.
What should a homeowner not do?
Well, yeah, let's set aside the physical danger of the COVID transmission.
Yeah.
I have to sort of imagine what it was like before that. Many times people would tell me, yeah, I need my house to be worth 300, right? And a lot of appraisers take issue with that because there's so many regulations, and it is so hammered into us that for the economy to work, we have to be neutral and unbiased. But so this is the opposite answer. Most appraisers would say, yeah, well, I don't want your opinion about it. I always do, because if my weighted average is coming in at 298, and this guy, I hope I'm not getting in trouble saying this, but if this guy has told me that 300,000 makes the deal, I want to know that, because I'm not that good. Two appraisers doing an appraisal of a home within 1 or 2% of each other have come even 3% apart. They have reached the same conclusion, because it is, like you say, art, science. It's an imperfect market.
Also, Adam, and imagine if somebody's living, I don't know, let's say Chelsea, or pick a particular location,
yeah.
They may know something you just don't happen to know because you're not always working that zip code.
Yeah, that is true. I would say that, think about it like this. The mindset that you're trying to sell the house to the appraiser is a accurate but sort of slippery conversation here, because on one hand, well, why wouldn't you point out everything that you love about the neighborhood? You can walk to the school. Then the appraiser can't possibly know all of those communities. We're not real estate agents who can drill into a community, for a week to figure out what to list it for. I take 6 hours on the average appraisal, which is a lot of time. It's a super focused, it's my mom's money at stake here, folks, but it's only 6 hours. So I would say one thing what not to do is, lie and say, yeah, I know, I had an appraisal done and it came in at 600 when it didn't even happen. I've had people tell me that, and I'm looking at a house that's worth in the fives. I'm like, how could anybody ever have done that? And then I realized, oh, I'm an idiot. They just made that number up because that's their hope. And so I took a look at, is that possible? Because I always look at, who knows what it's worth. But I think that I'd focus on what you should do. Remember that the appraiser doesn't know your house or your neighborhood. Point out all the positives. We're going to see the negatives. You have no obligation to tell them that the water heater is 9 years old and it's a 10-year water heater, for example. Like, why would you tell them that? I'm looking at the date when I'm there. I know that. So I don't know if that's helpful.
No, absolutely. So what I'm hearing you saying is that, a lot of appraisers don't want to sort of be influenced by the consumer and say, oh, I need a value of X to make this work. But you're saying that, in a reasonable world, maybe you do want to know that just to sort of see where that consumer is coming from.
Actually, Patrick, you just helped me hone my advice. Okay, I'm a guy, I think with my mouth out loud. That's what's happening here.
Yeah.
I would say preface what you say by, I understand that I'm not allowed to try to influence you, but I want to make sure and communicate some things to you. That's all. That alone brings down because an appraiser, we're human. And if we feel like we're being influenced, it's like, it puts us on the defensive.
Exactly. You don't want to walk into that in sort of an adversarial relationship right off the bat.
Maybe ask permission. Can I point out a few things that I just want to make sure, I know that you're going to come to your own conclusion, and I'm certainly not trying to influence you, but I don't want you to miss a couple of things. I do live here after all, and nobody's going to say no to that. So think about all the best things about your house and ask for permission to share it. And I'm just about out of time, but and I would say, and then share it. And, and if an appraisal was done recently, you can even offer the appraisal if they want a copy of it. Don't hand it to them, because I'd say 50-50. Half of us want it, half of us don't.
Yeah, so offer it,
I would say offer it,
Okay, all right.
Unless you didn't like the value. Hey, I'm being honest. I own a house.
Well, that's what we want here. We want some honest info, some honest answers. Now, Adam, I want to be respectful of your time. I know you have to run to do an inspection.
I do.
So
I think it's number 6001, right?
Yeah, 6001. We're pushing you over over the top here. So really have to thank you for making some time to chat with us this morning, talk about what homeowners should do and shouldn't do, pandemic wise or otherwise, and with the length and depth of experience you have, that's definitely good information, good advice to take to heart. And I have to thank Declan for inviting you to join us today.
Patrick, I also want to offer, I feel like my knowledge is not doing anybody any good if it's stuck in my head. So if anybody has a specific question about a specific property, I may or may not be able to answer it. And I don't want to be overwhelmed with, what is it worth if I add a half bath and stuff like that. But I will answer those types of questions as well. And AladdinAppraisal.com is not hiding. I have a Facebook page, and that's a great place to
So when we wrap this up, I'll make sure I get you tagged and get the business tagged in the post, and hopefully we can bring it to the forefront for some consumers that may need your services.
Yeah, I mean, I have actually pretended to buy a lot of homes, so I have a lot of information that could be helpful to people, and I'm happy to share it. It's not, like I said, it doesn't do anybody any good stuck in my head. So, all right, I do have to sign off. And
Adam,
all right.
Always good to see you, Adam.
That was fast.
It was fast.
All right. Take care, everybody.
All right. Thanks for joining us. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I'm grateful to you.
All righty.
Thanks.
Take care. So I think maybe we'll just leave the recording running here for a minute or two, Declan, just you and I. Great interview. I think I definitely would like to have Adam join us again. So maybe you can help set that up when he has a little bit more time, and seems like a great guy to have a conversation with. So definitely some good detail on what to do and what not to do if you're looking to get an appraisal done on your home, or if your lender is requiring it.
Adam's very knowledgeable. Again, just because of the nature of what I do, I've run into him a number of times. And the conversation's always interesting, even just because I always try to meet with an appraiser.
Sure.
Give them some of those comps if they're interested in them, but he's always had a very interesting take on the market and on a micro and macro level.
Yeah. Well, with that length and depth of experience, he's seen a lot of stuff out there, so that's some good perspective. So we're a little bit more than a half hour deep at this point, so I think we'll wrap it up. The Wicked Awesome Report broadcasts this every Tuesday and Thursday at 10 a.m. Looking forward to next Thursday. Do we have a property manager lined up?
That's right, Shane Hayes.
So Shane is going to be joining us, talking about rentals and property management, and of course with the pandemic theme, how that's different in the current environment. So tune in again. See us next Thursday at 10 a.m. right to here, same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks for joining us, Declan. So we got Declan O'Toole from Select Real Estate, Patrick Queally from Hancock Mortgage. This has been another edition of the Wicked Awesome Report. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. Till then, stay awesome.